So first we will understand in this class what is moment of inertia. Okay, so we have already seen that we are developing the study of rotational motion parallel to the study of translational motion. So translational motion is motion in a straight line, and rotational motion is when the motion is rotating along a circle kind of. So we have yet to answer one major question in the connection. What is the analog of mass in rotational motion? So we shall attempt to answer this question in this class, okay? So to keep the discussion simple, we shall consider rotation about a fixed axis only. So let us try to get an expression for the kinetic energy of a rotating body. So we know that for a body rotating about a fixed axis, each particle of the body moves in a circle with linear velocity. Now for a particle at a distance from the axis, the linear velocity is, what is the formula for linear velocity? Vi is equal to Ri omega. And the kinetic energy of the particle is Ki is equal to half mi vi square. That is half mi. What is vi? Vi is Ri omega. So we can write this as Ri square omega square, since V is equal to R omega, where mi is the mass of the particle and the total kinetic energy K of the body is given by the sum of the kinetic energies of individual particles. So how can we write K? K is equal to sum of all kinetic energies. That is I is equal to 1 to n Ki. That is equal to half sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi Ri square omega square. So here n is the number of particles in the body, and note omega is same for all particles. Hence we are taking omega out of the sum. So you will get K is equal to half omega square into sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi Ri square, because omega is same for all the particles. Now we define a new parameter characterizing the rigid body, which is called moment of inertia, that is denoted by I. So how do we give moment of inertia? What is the formula? I is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n mi Ri square. So with this definition, K is equal to half I omega square. Now note that the parameter I is independent of the magnitude of the angular velocity. So it is a characteristic of the rigid body and the axis about which it rotates. So now if you compare this equation for the kinetic energy of a rotating body with the expression for the kinetic energy of the body in linear motion. Linear motion is translational motion. So we get K is equal to half mv square. Here m is the mass of the body and v is its velocity. So we have already noted that there is an analogy between angular velocity omega and linear velocity v. So omega is in terms of rotational motion. V is in terms of linear motion. So it is evident from the parameter that moment of inertia I is the desired rotational analog of mass. So in rotation, that is about a fixed axis, the moment of inertia plays a similar role as mass does in linear motion. So how mass plays the role in linear motion? The same way moment of inertia plays the role in rotational motion. Okay. So now we will apply the definition to calculate the moment of inertia in two simple cases. So what are the two cases? Let us see. So the first case is, consider a thin ring of radius capital R and mass capital M, rotating in its own plane around its center with angular velocity omega. So each mass element of the ring is at a distance r from the axis and moves with a speed r omega. So how do you get the kinetic energy? K is equal to half mv square, that is half m r square omega square. Now comparing it with the other equation, what do you get? You get I is equal to mr square for the ring. So you can see the figure. Now from here to here it is L by 2, and from here to here also it is L by 2. So this is a light rod of length L with a pair of masses rotating about an axis through the center of mass of the system and perpendicular to the rod. So the total mass of the system is m. This is the first case. And the second case is, now we take a rigid massless rod of length L with a pair of small masses rotating about an axis through the center of mass perpendicular to the rod. You can refer the same figure. So each mass m by 2 is at a distance L by 2. You can see the same figure. So each mass m by 2 is at a distance L by 2 from the earth, from the axis. So moment of inertia is given by m by 2 into L by 2 whole square plus m by 2 into L by 2 whole square. So for a pair of masses rotating about the axis through the center of mass perpendicular to the rod, I is equal to ml square by 4. So I will give you a table which shows the moments of inertia of various familiar regular shaped solids about specific axis. So as the mass of a body resists a change in its state of linear motion, it is a measure of its inertia to linear motion. So similarly, as the motion of inertia about a given axis of rotation resists a change in its rotational motion, it can be regarded as a measure of rotational inertia of the body. So it is a measure of the way in which different parts of the body are distributed at different distances from the axis. So unlike the mass of a body, the moment of inertia is not a fixed quantity but depends on the orientation and position of the axis of rotation with respect to the body as a whole. So as a measure of the way in which the mass of a rotating rigid body is distributed with respect to the axis of rotation, so we can define a new parameter, that is radius of gyration, and it is related to the moment of inertia and the total mass of the body. So let me give you moment of inertia of some regular shaped bodies. So let us make a table. Body, axis, and how about the moment of inertia? So here there is a thin circular ring whose radius is r. What is the axis? Axis is perpendicular to plane at center. And the figure is like this. There is a small ring. This is mr square. I is mr square. Now the next body is thin circular ring whose radius is r, and here axis is the diameter. So you see how it is divided. What is the axis? Here axis is the diameter, and the moment of inertia will be mr square by 2 in this case. Then next is thin rod whose length is L. What is the axis here? Axis is perpendicular to rod at the midpoint. Now let's say this is a rod. This is axis of rotation. This is y-axis. This is x-axis. And this is z-axis. And over here, moment of inertia is ml square by 12. So now we will take the next solid, that is circular disc, whose radius is r. And here axis is perpendicular to disc at center. So the disc is like this. It is perpendicular to the disc at the center. This is the axis of rotation. And here I will be mr square by 2. I is moment of inertia. Then next is, again I am taking the same circular disc whose radius is r, but the axis is the diameter, along the diameter. So the figure will be like this. If this is the disc, then this is the axis, and rotation is in this way. So I is mr square by 4 in this case. Then we have a hollow cylinder. Radius is r, and axis is axis of the cylinder. So let's see how the figure is. This is the hollow cylinder, which means it is open at one end. So here, this is the axis of rotation. And here moment of inertia is mr square. Now the next body is solid cylinder. Solid cylinder, axis is axis of the cylinder. And the figure is the same way, but it is closed at both the ends. Closed at both the ends, so you can just fill this like this. So here axis will be passing through the center. And here moment of inertia is mr square by 2. Now at last you have a solid sphere whose radius is r and the axis is the diameter. There is a sphere, let's say. So it is passing through the center. This is axis of rotation. And moment of inertia is 2 mr square by 5. So these are the different bodies, their axis, their moment of inertia, and their figures. So now you see from the table, you can notice that in all the cases, we can write I is equal to mk square, where k has the dimension of length. So for a rod about the perpendicular axis at its midpoint, k square is equal to L square by 12. That is k square is equal to, or k is equal to L by root 12. So similarly, k is equal to r by 2 for a circular disc about its diameter. And the length k is a geometric property of the body and axis of rotation. So it is called radius of gyration. So how can you define radius of gyration? You just take it down. So the distance from the axis of a mass point whose mass is equal to the mass of the whole body and whose moment of inertia is equal to the moment of inertia of the body about the axis. This is the definition of radius of gyration. So the moment of inertia of a rigid body depends on mass of its body, its shape and size, distribution of mass about the axis of rotation, and the position and orientation of the axis of rotation. So from the definition, we can infer that dimensions of moment of inertia are ml square and SI unit is kg meter square. So the property of this extremely important quantity, moment of inertia as a measure of rotational inertia of the body, has been put to a great practical use. So the machines such as steam engine and the automobile engine, etc., that produce rotational motion have a disc with a large moment of inertia which is called as flywheel. So because of its large moment of inertia, the flywheel resists the sudden increase or decrease of the speed of the vehicle. So because of the large moment of inertia, the flywheel resists the sudden increase or decrease of the speed of the vehicle, and it allows a gradual change in the speed, and it prevents jerky motions, thereby ensuring a smooth ride for the passengers on the vehicle. So this is the importance of moment of inertia. So there are two useful theorems relating to moment of inertia. So we shall first discuss the theorem of perpendicular axis and its simple yet instructive application in working out the moments of inertia of some regular shaped bodies. So first let us understand what is the theorem of perpendicular axis. So this theorem is applicable to bodies which are planar. So in practice, this means the theorem applies to flat bodies whose thickness is very small compared to their dimensions. Example, length, breadth or radius. So I will give you a figure. This is O. We are drawing a line passing through origin. This is the point N. This is the point M. This is the point P. Now this is a perpendicular and this is also a perpendicular. Now this is a planar body. This is y-axis. This point is x comma y. This is x-axis and this is z-axis. So you can see this figure illustrates the theorem. So it states that, so what is the statement of this theorem? Let me write down. So the moment of inertia of a planar body, which is also called as lamina, about an axis perpendicular to its plane is equal to the sum of its moments of inertia about two perpendicular axes concurrent with perpendicular axis and lying in the plane of the body. So as you can see this figure shows a planar body. So an axis perpendicular to the body through a point O is taken as z-axis, and two mutually perpendicular axes lying in the plane of the body and concurrent with the z-axis, that is passing through O, are taken as x and y-axis. So this theorem states that Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. So let us look at the usefulness of this theorem. So first let us understand what is the moment of inertia. Of a disk about one of its diameters. So now you see this is a disk. So this is z-axis, this is y-axis, this is the origin, and this is x-axis. So this is the moment of inertia of a disk about a diameter, given its moment of inertia about the perpendicular axis through the center. So what is the moment of inertia of a disk about one of its diameters? So we assume the moment of inertia of the disk about an axis perpendicular to it and through its center to be known. So it is moment of inertia is mr square by 2 here, where m is the mass of the disk and r is the radius. So the disk can be considered to be a planar body. Hence the theorem of perpendicular axis is applicable to it. So as it is shown in the figure, we take three concurrent axes through the center of the disk. O as the x, y and z axis. So x and y axis lie in the plane of the disk and z is perpendicular to it. So by the theorem of perpendicular axis, we get that Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. So now x and y axis are along two diameters of the disk, and by symmetry, the moment of inertia of the disk is the same about any diameter. So that's why we can say Ix is equal to Iy, Iz is equal to 2Ix, and Iz is equal to mr square by 2, and Ix is equal to Iz by 2. That is mr square by 4. So the moment of inertia of a disk about any of its diameter is mr square by 4. So similarly, the moment of inertia of a ring about any of its diameter also can be found. So this is perpendicular axis theorem. Now let us see what is parallel axis theorem. Parallel axis theorem is an extension of perpendicular axis theorem, and it is applicable to a body of any shape. Like perpendicular axis theorem is applicable to a body of planar shape, but parallel axis theorem is applicable to a body of any shape. So it allows to find moment of inertia of a body about any axis given the moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis through the center of mass of the body. So we shall only state this theorem and not give its proof. So we shall, however, apply it to a few simple situations which will be enough to convince us about the usefulness of the theorem. So the theorem is the moment of inertia of a body about any axis is equal to the sum of the moment of inertia of the body about a parallel axis passing through the center of mass and the product of its mass and the square of the distance between the two parallel axes. So this is the statement of the theorem. So now let me give you a figure. So you can see this is the figure. This is the theorem of parallel axis. And the z and z dash axis are two parallel axes separated by a distance a. O is the center of mass of the body and O dash is also A. So as you can see in the figure, Z and Z dash are two parallel axes separated by a distance A. Z axis passes through the center of mass O of the rigid body. And according to the theorem of parallel axis, Iz dash is equal to Iz plus Ma square. Here Iz and Iz dash are the moments of inertia of the body about Z and Z dash axis respectively. And M is the mass of the body and A is the perpendicular distance between the two parallel axes. So now let us take an example. What is the moment of inertia of a rod of mass M, length L, about an axis perpendicular to it through one end. So you can see for the rod of mass M and length L, I is equal to ml square by 12. So using the parallel axis theorem, we get I dash is equal to I plus ma square with A is equal to L by 2. So we get I dash is equal to ml square by 12 plus m into L by 2 whole square. So if you solve this, you will get ml square by 3. So we can check this independently since I is half the moment of inertia of a rod of mass 2m and length 2l about its midpoint. So I dash is equal to 2m into 4l square by 12 into 1 by 2. So if you solve this, you will get ml square by 3.